Good morning. It is 23 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, City Councilor, Ward 3, running for re-election.
Correct.
Judy Stubbs back with us. Good morning, Judy.
Gosh, it's good to see you, Mike.
Good to
morning.
see you again, and welcome. How's life treating you? How's
life is good.
Healthy, happy, family doing well, everybody's good?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Well, I'm going to start off like I try to, if I remember, every time, and thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. I know, obviously, you've served as city councilor for a while, and done various other things around our community as well too, and I appreciate that.
Thank
you. Win, lose, draw, agree. I mean, this is every single person that's stepping up to be a city councilor or mayor or judge or any of the elected positions here. They're doing it because they care about their community and want to do the bad things, good things for it. And even though we may not all agree on how to get there, I think we all want that, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Yes,
for
that's
doing
good.
this.
I agree with you 100%, and thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. Public policy is my passion. I love it. I mean, that's me. And I grew up with a real sense of giving back to my community. So the professional work I've done in this community, and now, of course, the council, has been all in public service and trying to make my community better. And so I'm really proud of the fact that I have spent a great deal of time learning as I've been doing.
Sure.
And that's really important to me. I have a lot of experience, obviously. I have contacts.
Sure.
I have friends and I feel like the networking and the learning and the talking things over is most important.
Sure.
That's a big part of me.
And that's something that I like to point out here is, and this is probably where, in your experience, excels here because of your time served here and just the things you've done in our community. Now as serving for city council and things, is the job, have you learned that the job is as much dealing with personalities and dealing with just where people are thinking as much as dealing with policy and budgets and the semantic stuff that we talk about?
It's probably a lot of explaining policy and procedure and laws that have been put into place. And I love doing that.
Yeah.
And it takes all types of personalities. It takes all of us to make things what they are and to improve things and to make a good community.
Sure.
And I'm not a person that sits in a cubicle and decides how the world's going to run.
Sure.
It's very important to me to have conversation and to listen to people and to understand other philosophies.
Sure.
I learn so much from just visiting with people and their concerns.
Sure.
And it helps me form what I believe is the best decision to make. And I can't do that, like I say, on my own. I need the conversation. So when people call me asking questions or concerned about things, that makes me feel really good because we can talk about it. And like I say, I can learn and I can also disseminate good information.
Well, and it also helps in your decision-making process because, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of decisions you make as a city councilor that, they're good ideas and they're things that you want, but do the logistics work? Do the numbers match? Is the juice worth the squeeze here? Are the amount of money we're spending, does it benefit enough of our community to be worth that? And that's where the decision making, and that's where the semantics get in here. But
Definitely.
But I would imagine talking to people and getting all sides of the story allows you to make that decision more educated and say, okay, I would love to have X here as well, but the numbers don't match. The need isn't what we thought it was. I mean, that's where you learn that kind of stuff. So, I imagine is that the biggest asset to being able to talk to people and things like that?
It certainly is a great asset, yes. And it's important. It's important, I think, for all of us that sit in any elected position is to get the input from the public that we're serving. You can't, I certainly can't just make decisions without talking to people. And very often I've called together a group of people that maybe have concerns or interest in whatever the topic is, or I I certainly receive phone calls and I make phone calls.
Gotcha.
To find out. And at the coffee shop or having lunch is a great way to
Absolutely.
find out what people are thinking and the direction I should take.
Yeah, trust me, as a guy in radio, the more conversations I have with people just talking, I learn more information about that than sometimes anything I get asking questions here in the studio.
I'm sure that's true too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. I do want to ask this because I know I've been talking to a lot of the city councilors, like, do you have unique issues in Ward 3, Ward 2? Yeah, you have an experience sitting in this chair and doing this for a while. I think, are there unique problems to wards, or is all problems universal here in Roswell? I mean, and if so, what's some of the if there is unique problems, what's some of those to the Ward 3?
Do you know that's an interesting question because as I'm sure everyone has told you that is running for office, is not here just to serve my ward. I'm here to serve the whole community.
Sure.
Okay. That's very true.
Sure.
But yes, the wards are unique and have their own concerns. I was actually speaking to somebody last night who lives in a different ward and said, we don't have a good park in our ward.
Okay.
And I really got to thinking about that. And then I went back and looked at the map, and sure enough,
they're right.
So, so that's really interesting. Ward 3 is a very interesting ward. It serves the west. We would serve the west side of town, pretty much from 2nd Street north.
Okay.
And have a little bit below 2nd Street. I lost some of that, some good people. There was when we redistrict.
Ward 2 and 3 were really the only ones that were majorly impacted in this.
Yes.
And it was this one area where. And it is confusing. I'm not gonna lie. You go. You drive down this part of town, and I live near it, so I know. And I'm just in the Ward 2 side, not the Ward 3 side. But I drive through it, and you go one street, you see Ward 2 signs. You go the next street over, Ward 3. Then the next street over, you're back to Ward 2 side. So yeah, there's a little muddy in that area.
There is, and so I've actually gained 3 new precincts in that northern part of the city. And so it'll be interesting and fun for me to get some of their perspectives and to understand the different needs and positions on things and philosophies. So, but I think in general, people are concerned about the same issues in the large perspective of things. Yes, several years ago, the city did a survey of folks, and the major thing they were concerned about were roads. And I still hear that, and I think it's really important. And just for the record, this budget, we provided more money for roads, for city roads, than I think ever has happened.
Sure.
And so we're working on that. The problem is, of course, is COVID happened.
That's where I was wondering, like, I was going to go in that direction. It's like, I'm sure the delays aren't completely something that you can control as a council. Yeah,
exactly. It's very difficult. And so we do have that money, and I'm sure that if we don't spend it in this fiscal year, which we're already looking, of course, at the next fiscal budget, but that it'll carry over and be there because timing is everything when you do these things.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting.
Can we talk just a bit about the COVID side and get your perspective as how that impacted the city here? I know the mayor, city council, you guys made a lot of decisions and doing a lot of things to keep the ship afloat over these couple of years here.
Yes.
But how does we know it as a personal but really how did that impact things like, because I'm sure you had a slate of streets, there was the schedule of things done. I'm sure all that goes out the window once this all hit.
Well, it doesn't necessarily all go out the window. You look at it differently.
Gotcha.
I think we were able to say, well, we don't need to do this right away. We can hold off on it and that sort of thing. But let me tell you something that's very interesting, and I'm just really proud of this city. And that is, I do a lot of work on the state level as well, which I think helps keep Roswell's name out there and gives me information of how other communities are doing things. But when COVID hit And everyone was looking at their budget. What are we going to do? And we obviously cut our budget as well, like everyone else. But gross receipts were up every single month from what we budgeted,
which was surprising. A good surprise.
And that just tells me that people still have faith in their community. They're still shopping locally. They still care about the city. And so it was really quite a relief. And we would just, say, wow, every month when we'd get the information in. And so COVID affected us, of course. At the city level, of course, we offered furlough, or we implemented furloughs that we never had to use, thanks to this community and the people that are shopping here locally. So that was wonderful. And like I say, it was much easier. The thing where we were really hit was lodger's tax. And lodger's tax is paying for the bonds on the convention center.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of a...
And if no one's staying in hotels, then there's no lodger's tax coming in. So, yeah.
So we were able to shift some of the lodger's tax that we were getting into paying for the convention center because we were not having events that required the use of the lodger's tax.
So that was a bit of a blessing in disguise there, a little bit.
I guess so.
Yeah. If you want to call it that.
Right. That's it. But there were certain things we had to do.
Yeah.
Every day, I think we're sensing that things are getting better as far as COVID's concerned. My biggest concern right now, when I'm asked what are your concerns for the city, one of them is inflation. And I don't know that we're really talking about. I think as we get into this budget process, we will, because everyone in this country is pretty well going to be affected by what's happening, things we are not in control of.
Especially when you're talking growth, because anything that requires growth requires an addition of infrastructure, material, whatever it is. And like you said, the way of the world we live in right now, inflation's high, and a building that 5 years ago would have cost $1 million to build is going to cost $5 million to build right now.
If you can get the material.
If you can get the material.
That's still an issue, a huge issue.
Yeah.
For us.
And I imagine, and that's the struggle that you guys are having to deal with and I imagine that's do you anticipate it getting worse before it gets better right now, or do you think we're at the worst?
Do you know?
You're reading the tea leaves like everybody else here. You know?
I am, but I'm watching the stock market, and I'm looking at some of those things and what's happening nationally. I mean, what's just happened in the last 24 hours is actually going to have a rippling effect down to our level. So it's really hard to say. I just know that we will be cautious in our budgeting and taking care of the needs first.
Let's talk good stuff on the other side here. Let's talk let's crowning achievement. Like, what is your time serving on city council here? Is there a certain piece of legislation or a certain event or certain thing that you're a part of that you're saying, that I'm most proud of that. That's something I'm so glad to be a part of. Is there anything you could point your finger at that you really after that meeting you're like, man, I'm so glad we got that done. That was important.
Well, yeah, I can mention a few things. I think first of all, I have to say probably the biggest thing that's noticeable to this community is it's been a while, but I led the committee. It took us 3 years to get the All-America City Award,
Gotcha.
determination. So we've been using that ever since. And once you're an All-America city, you're always
it's like a president. Once you got elected president, they call you president for life.
You're always president. Yes. That's right. That's exactly right. So that took a lot of great people working. And like I say, we were in the finals for 3 years, finally actually made it that third year. So I learned so much about this community and networked with so many people. So that, not in my city council role, although it fit in so well with it, is I'm the one that started the after school program in the elementary schools many years ago, and it's still going today. And that is, I think, one of my
crowning achievement. Something you look back on and say, I'm
it
happy.
Really is. I'm
that.
proud. I'm proud that I did it. I'm glad that I did it. The fact that it's still going and obviously still needed, it warms my heart that is still going on.
Sure.
I sort of think I'm sometimes the voice of reason. I try to bring a positive perspective to things. I do my homework. I think I'm known for really digging deep into things, and I'm kind of the wordsmither of the council, which may or may I'm not sure if it's a curse or
Sure, but I get what you're saying. You're like, regardless of when tempers flare and stuff, you try to be that the voice of reason, the quiet, the calm in the storm, the even keel person. That
exactly.
All right, before this gets out of hand, let's bring it back in a little bit. Yeah, I
appreciate that. And because I do my homework and because I look into a lot of things, I can understand why or why not government can or cannot do what people would like us to do. And one of them, of course, is the budget. I look at at approving a budget every year is the main thing that we do. We set policy. The governing body sets policy. We don't do the day-to-day work of hiring or firing or digging ditches or what, but we set policy. And I believe the budget is the greatest policy that we set. It sets, the mode. It tells us what we're going to do. And actually, by state statute, that's the only thing they say a council has to do.
That's the financial Bible for the community.
It is. Exactly. Yeah. That's good. And so that's the guide. But we make budget adjustments, which happens almost every month. And I think that's kind of the difference between governmental accounting and budgeting and private work, is that we have to account for everything. And when we move things around, there has to be a plus and a minus because it always has to be balanced. Just again, municipal, state statute says we have to balance our budget.
It's do as I say, not as I do, but
exactly.
It is what it is.
So, and where we can move money and where we can't. So we're obviously mostly dependent on gross receipts tax.
Sure.
Like almost every municipality in the state, our gross receipts tax pays for about 75% of our services. So again, it's just great that we've been able to fund the necessary things and not really cut
times
things
were
out.
hard, but we were able to. It wasn't as bad as we thought, and we prepared for the worst and we didn't get the worst.
And that's so much fun when that happens. That's really a great feeling.
Absolutely.
Another thing that's really uncommon, I think, for municipalities in New Mexico, especially right now, is, first of all, again, we are required by law to hold 1/12 of our money in reserve.
Yes.
For a rainy day type thing.
Your emergency fund.
Exactly.
Yes.
We were able this last budgeting cycle to raise that to 3/12.
Gotcha. So we're 30% higher than what, or 20% higher, I guess.
I don't know.
Put it this way: we got 2 times more than we're required to have in there. There's a reason I'm
3
in radio.
times. Yeah,
I don't do math.
Oh well,
we required this amount. We got 3 times that amount in there right now. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And I think it's really incredible that we're able to do that. So we do have money in reserves again in case.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit. So we mentioned Santa Fe here a little bit. I'm just curious and this may be nothing or not, but obviously what the state's done with congressional districts and things, and Chavez County is now basically, we have a representative. All 3 representatives have territory in Chavez County. As a city, does that impact anything on the city council? I mean, as far as who comes to visit you guys, or even what gets presented to you? I mean, do you anticipate some unique things coming your way because of this alignment now?
There probably will be unique things happen. I'm not sure how it's going to work. It's a little hard, and this is a very personal opinion, not coming from a city councilor.
Sure.
But I think it's going to be very difficult for the representative that is serving most of this community now to represent Roswell and the Navajo Nation at the same time.
Gotcha. Different needs.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I'm concerned about that. How it's going to affect us at the city level is, we get money from the federal government as well. And so with the diverse area that is now created, I hope that Roswell kind of rises.
So that could be a good
to
thing.
The top.
Like things that maybe we weren't put on the radar for might put us on the radar because now we got, in essence, 3 representatives kind of looking out for this area.
Well, we lost our second congressional district.
Yes.
Is now just the Boot Hill at Travis County.
And
it's nothing here in Roswell.
That was our representative for all of us at that point. Yeah.
Yes, and the difference in how it's going to shake out is a concern to me. But wait and see, I guess. So it'll be interesting because, like I say, it's always good at the city level, like every other level, to know who your representatives are. And now we have, like you say, 3.
Yeah, and I would also, maybe this is a positive, I don't know, but when it comes to bending ears of people that can help us in D.C., now in essence you got 3 numbers on the Rolodex instead of 1. So
that's it.
In theory, that should help.
That's it. One would think.
Yeah.
But then it could also be spreading the wealth out a little too much too. It
where
could
Peter's
go either
Rob and
way.
Paul are fighting with Paul here,
Could happen.
And we're stuck in the middle. Yeah,
Could happen.
That could also happen. Yeah, I was just curious, because your experience here, I was like, what, because this is something this next city council is going to have to deal with here, and I didn't know if you kind of thought, well, is it going to be business as usual, or this could put some wrinkles in what we do here the next 4 years?
Well, I think more than anything, it's going to take all of us to educate our new representatives on what Roswell is and what the needs are and where we fit into all of this, and that we're important.
Sure, absolutely.
So time will tell on that, I would guess.
We're running short on time, but I want to give an opportunity for you to anything we just didn't get a chance to talk about or skipped or I got on a tangent, which happens.
We're all guilty.
Some more than others. but is there anything you wanted to make sure that you got out there that we just didn't get a chance to cover?
Do you know, you did ask a question earlier, and I really didn't answer it, and that is specific to Ward 3. And I answer the needs of the community, and I appreciate them calling and letting me know. But I believe I've never been a candidate that had an agenda.
Gotcha.
And I
Other
still
than
don't.
doing the best for the people.
Better government. You're absolutely right. Doing the best for the people, listening and researching. And I think those are some of the important things I do. I attend either via the internet or in person almost every single committee meeting that the city has.
And there's a lot, by the way.
And there are a lot. And I'm able to do that, and I'm thankful for that. But again, I'm gathering information and I'm expressing opinions too, and again, it helps me learn what's going on. So I have the ability, and I'm able to go to a lot of those meetings, and I think that I have the ability and through the years have learned people in different positions.
Gotcha.
So I can call the local government's division director in Department of Finance and Authority, and we're on a first name basis.
Gotcha.
So I just think I bring some of that to the council.
You have those
that
relationships.
Really helps, because I've been building them over the years.
And that kind of goes back to where we started at the beginning here. It's like the job is as much personalities, relationships, working with people as it is dictating policy. And dictating what numbers and things like that.
Very true. Very true.
Because if you have the relationships, the other side gets a little easier. Because then people, especially if you're trying to massage or do something that involves a lot of different moving parts, the relationships make that happen.
It's not just the relationship, it's the respect of each other.
Sure.
Which is huge in my book.
Yeah.
And I have been able over the years, like I say, to build those kinds of relationships. So the chair of the legal committee and myself as chair. I'm sorry, I am the chair of the legal committee. That's me.
That's me. I'm in charge.
I chair the legal committee, and then the chair of the finance committee and myself and staff went to Santa Fe a few weeks ago and were able to get in and visit with our legislators and with the governor. And there's nothing to me that's more effective than to be able to sit down eyeball to eyeball and talk to people.
Absolutely.
So I'm pleased that I'm able to do that, like I say, as well with many people in other government positions.
Sure. Even if you don't agree with them necessarily.
You don't have to always agree.
And more like you probably don't always. So that's the thing.
True.
Yeah.
But you have to learn, and you have to, like you said earlier, look past maybe how we're going to get there at the onset point.
Sure.
But think about what the end result is. And usually I'm good at consensus building. And I know I'm not always right. I'm certainly not always right. And I love to learn things.
Sure.
I still love to learn.
Sure.
So building a consensus, being positive, having that drive to do public policy, I think are my main.
That's your mantra.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
If anybody has questions, wants to, I know, of course, as city councilor, you can find her email and phone number, contact at the city website.
Yes, certainly.
Is there any campaign stuff that you can point people to if they want some questions or information?
Do you know, maybe I'm old school, but I still prefer to get phone calls or texts.
Gotcha.
I really do. It's more personal. It comes to me more quickly.
Gotcha.
And
you can stomp that fire out personally. Or if there's a fire.
Exactly. Well, and usually
assuming politics it is.
Well, yes, it is politics. So if I could give you my cell number, like I say, texts or phone calls are the best way.
Absolutely.
But my number is 575-626-0207.
Very good. And if anybody has questions, wants to help out in any way, shape, or form, or if you're a resident of Ward 3 and you've got a city issue that you'd like to talk to your city councilor about, she's there for that too.
Thank you.
Not election related, just, hey, my street light's out or whatever's going on there.
Well, that's it. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Judy. Appreciate the visit.
I appreciate this opportunity.
And anytime we'd love to have you in. And I always have open invites for all of our city councilors. They want to come in and feel the need.
Thank you.
Love to have you guys share whatever. I know we have the mayor on every month, but the mayor doesn't always speak for every city councilor.
It's true. That's true. No, I probably should be doing that. I really should.
Well, we'd love to have you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Stay warm today. And And I'm sure, like everyone else, you'll be very glad when Wednesday rolls in.
That is true.
Have a great weekend. Thank you very much,
same.
Judy, and thank you for your service to our community.
I appreciate
we do
that
appreciate
too. Thank you.
All right, it is 9.